This section showcases practical, mood-driven ideas to convert a small corner into an autumn-ready shabby chic sewing nook. Focus on warm neutrals with pumpkin and rust accents, distressed white furniture, and layered textiles like floral quilts and crochet throws. Highlight 1 or 2 destination pieces, an old sewing table or a painted wooden chair. Then show how to accessorize with thrifted jars for buttons, stacked hat boxes for fabric storage, and open shelving for inspiration books. Explain quick swaps for seasonality. Switch lightweight linens for heavier upholstery fabrics, add a woven rug, and bring in dried flowers or mini pumpkins for visual warmth. Include short DIYs, lace curtain tiebacks, painted drawer pulls that are easy to replicate. These hands-on suggestions make viewers feel they can accomplish the look in a weekend. Grandmacore celebrates nostalgia and gentle domesticity, perfect for a sewing corner. Here we detail the styling cues that read as Grandma's gentle home without being kitschy. Soft florals, tea-stained linens, heirloom ceramics, and sentimental framed photos. Emphasize tactile comforts. Wool cushions, velvet pin cushions, and a tea tray for breaks between stitches. For autumn, incorporate cinnamon-scented sachets, a small amber lamp, and a basket lined with mustard-toned throws. Offer rules of thumb. Stick to 2 to 3 dominant patterns, keep metallic accents warm, aged brass or copper. And curate rather than clutter. Display only what's beautiful or useful. Focus on layers of lighting that maintain both the function of sewing and the warm Grandmacore atmosphere. Task lights with 2700K bulbs for detailed stitching, table lamps with soft yellow light, and vintage string lights or small lace lamps for evening ambience. Discuss shade size, simple diffusers, sheer fabric over clip-on lights, and light positioning to prevent reflections on fabric surfaces. Add aesthetic alternatives: electric oil lamps, LED candles for safety, or old watch glasses for shades. Include recommendations for safe materials and tips for using them to prevent thread and fabric from fading in the heat. Furniture Transformation Guide. Choose pieces with strong structure but good looks. Antique sewing tables, chests of drawers, cushioned chairs. Explain the step-by-step restoration steps. Cleaning, minor structural repairs, controlled distressing techniques, fine wire brush, gradual sanding, and finishing, milk, paint or wax to maintain patina. Offer functional ideas like adding drawer pads for thread, installing a rolling rail for a cutting table, or inserting a series of lidded glass jars for needle and button storage. Note cautions about antiques. Check the stability of the frame, potential lead containing paint, and how to clean vintage fabric without damaging it. Also present quick win ideas for a 1-hour makeover. Curate 3 signature Grandmacore fall palettes. 1. Muted rose and sage, soft and nostalgic. 2. Mustard and tea stain, warm with an antique feel. 3. Plum and walnut, rich and cozy. For each palette, explain the color proportions, dominant/accent, examples of fabrics and patterns that work well together, small-scale florals versus plain linens, and tips for mixing textures, cotton, linen, knits, for visual dimension. Suggest seasonal item swaps. Change pillowcases, add a throw blanket, and choose ribbon or lace as accents. Include slideshow photography ideas. Use layered swatches and close-ups of textures to highlight the palette. List essential tools that are also aesthetically pleasing. Quality fabric scissors, vintage sewing needles, a small rotary cutter, a small felt pad, a vintage thimble, a magnetic pin dish made from a porcelain lid. Describe themed storage. Glass jars with handwritten labels, a porcelain button tray, a lace hanger for ribbons. Discuss functional organization, organizing by project, in progress versus file trays. And tool maintenance, light oil for antique sewing machines, sharpening scissors. Add tips for combining function and aesthetics to keep your workspace tidy yet warm. For example, a task lamp with a thread refill station in the base. quick tutorial for making a shabby chic caddy from household items. Stack mason jars on a two-tiered cake tray, wrap with lace ribbon and label with old paper. Or use a small wooden box lined with tea-stained fabric for twine storage. Include steps for materials and time, personalization options, fabric monogram, vintage-inspired decoupage, and a suggested finish for durability, a thin coat of varnish on a wooden base. Focus on an aesthetic that's easy to create but looks curated. Fall-themed fabric project inspiration. A lap quilt made from vintage patterned linen and cotton scraps, a simple pumpkin applique, or a table runner with dried floral embroidery. Provide difficulty level options, yardage estimates, and a list of supporting materials, lightweight batting, warm-dyed thread. Show styling ideas for quilts folded over the back of stylish chairs, close-ups of hand-stitching and mood shots with teacups. Include fabric aging tips for a Grandmacore effect, light tea staining on white fabrics and layering patterns for harmony. Ideas for combining garden elements with a sewing nook. Windowsill herb pots, glass vases filled with dried flowers and botanical prints on the walls. Discuss choosing indoor-friendly plants, small succulents, rosemary, lavender, and how to position them to prevent moisture from damaging fabrics. E.g., cover pots with trays, keep watering plants away from sensitive materials. Describe a vintage aesthetic. Labeling plants with wooden signs, reusing old shoes as mini pots, and using woven baskets as thread holders. Include slideshow visual suggestions. Macro shots of leaves and textures, wide shots of windows showcasing light and stacks of fabric. Thanks so much for spending time with me in this cozy corner of Victoria House.